Today we're going to be making spekkoek. And for spekkoek, which is a Dutch-Indonesian delicacy that's usually eaten around Christmas or the holidays, because if you were to eat it during the summer, it would just be too hot with the oven being on all day long. So anyway, so for spekkoek, which is a layered cake, every layer is baked separately. What you need is 6 sticks of butter. You need a cup and a half of sugar, a cup of flour, and a mixture of 3 tablespoons cinnamon, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon nutmeg, well, a little less than 1 teaspoon cloves, and 1/8 of a teaspoon cardamom. You will also need vanilla. And for your equipment, you need either 2 9-inch round cake pans. They cannot be the non-stick kind because you need the spekkoek to stick to the sides. So you can either do 2 round ones, small ones, or you can make 1 big one. And I happen to have a spring form, which I'll make the big one in. And then also for in between the layers, what you do is you flatten each layer, a little spice cup that has a flat bottom. This recipe is from my mom, and this is what she did, so I don't know any better than to do it also. I have watched her make this time and time again. She used to make tens of them, and they always used to take her a whole day. So I always thought it was just 1 spekkoek per day, but no. She made 3 or 4 batches a day. So when she passed, I was lucky enough to have taken down a recipe, which of course she never had. She just had it in her mind. But then towards the end, she did start measuring. So I was able to measure all the teaspoons and the amounts. And so this is the recipe I'm making. Okay, by the way, you do need a separate bowl for to beat the egg whites in. And you need a hand mixer, just any hand mixer. So to start with, we are going to cream the butter and the sugar together in the mixer. And as it is creaming, you add all the egg yolks, one at a time. The egg whites go in this other bowl that I said you would need. So we will start with putting the butter in. It needs to be softened also. And I happen to have softened butter on my microwave. I use salted butter, and I think that's what my mom used, so I'm just going to use it. So 6 of these sticks go in there. Niece Carrie used to do spekkoek all the time, and then she just stopped, and I never did. So then one year she was just getting too busy with work and her family, so she stopped making it. And we were all really sad and disappointed, and so I thought, well, heck, I've watched my mom do this time and time again. I have the recipe, I know what to do, so I'll just do it. So that's the butter. Now I'm going to add the sugar. Just dump it in like that. And so then you turn your mixer on cream and you start creaming it. Now as it is creaming, you have to add the egg yolks to it, one at a time. So what you do is you get the egg yolks, well, the egg whites go in that bowl that you have. and the egg yolks go in there one at a time, like so. You can't have any egg yolk in your egg whites because it will not stiffen. So I had a little oops, but I think I got everything out. This is supposed to cream for 45 minutes. During those 45 minutes, you have lots of time to put wax in your pan. You butter the bottom first and then you put the wax in it. Now if you have 2 pans, of course, you have 2 pans. I have about 6 minutes left to the creaming. So this is a great time to start the beating of the egg whites. It takes about 6 minutes to get it to a stiff peak form. And so as soon as I'm done with the egg whites, I will turn down the big mixer because now the creaming is done. All right, so my egg whites can form a stiff peak now. They're good. Now what I'm going to do is turn down the mixer because the creaming period is over, and I will add the flour. Now I'm going to add the flour by using a spoon because, just do it by spoonfuls. If you don't want to wear the flour, this is a good suggestion. So I'm now adding the flour. Now that the flour is added, I can turn off my mixer and fold in my egg whites. You don't want to mix in the egg whites with the batter because you have beaten it to a stiff peak to get all the air into the egg whites. And we need that air to stay in. So what you do is you take the paddle off. Now we will fold in the egg whites. So what you do is you fold it in half at a time. So half goes in and you just fold it with a spatula just to keep all that nice air in there. So before I divvy up my batter, I'm going to turn on my oven because it takes a little while to get the oven to a full broil, which is 500 degrees on my oven. And then also, I will put the rack in the middle to bake my spekkoek. So now I'll divvy up my batter into my bowls that I have, especially for this is my spekkoek batter bowls. And I've also bought 2 of the exact same scoops. I like the longer handle because I don't want it to fall into my bowl. So I will divide up my batter. So I have divvied it up. I've given one bowl a little bit more batter because that's going to be my non-spice bowl. I like to start with white and end with white, so it needs a little more batter than the other bowl that I'm going to add those spices to. I'm going to add them in here, just pour everything in there and stir it up good. That's all mixed in. Now we can start the baking. So what I'll do is I'll take a big scoop of the white. I'll pour it into my pan and spread it out nicely. That's why you have your handy dandy spoon. You want to make sure the whole bottom is covered. And like that. Okay, I'm going to put it in the oven, put it right under the broiler. I like to keep the door open a little bit, otherwise it just gets too hot. Now it's a good idea to watch your spekkoek being baked because you don't want it to burn. And until you get real good at timing of it, it's just better to watch. The first layer always takes the longest because it's the farthest away from the broiler. So you tend to get a little impatient maybe, but this is not the time to be impatient because spekkoek needs a lot of love and a lot of time, and you really can't do anything else but this. Trust me, I've done it, and I've come back to some burnt layers, and they're really hard to scrape off. Okay, the first layer is done. Now sometimes you'll see bubbles, and you do want to have a bamboo stick ready, a kind of a satay stick, and pierce them because they will show when you cut through the spekkoek. You'll be able to see little bubbles. So you want to get rid of them. No need to put butter on here because we've used plenty of butter. I mean, 6 sticks for one of these. It's plenty. So now we're going to put the brown layer on it. And right now it's real easy to tell which is which. But as you go along, it gets harder and harder to tell which layer has just baked. So what I do, I put the brown in, like so. You know, use your spoon again to get it nice and even. Like so. And so then what I do is I push my brown bowl back and my white bowl forward so that I always know which is which. Because trust me, you get going on this and you'll forget. You can't tell, and so this is my system. You may find one of your own, but this is mine. So we'll build about 20, 21 layers. I never know how many layers I'm going to get. The last one I made, I had 30 layers. Too many. So I'm taking bigger scoops. And hopefully I'll get at least 20. But we'll see. We are almost done. This is the brown. So we are ready for the last white. Yay. The last one going in. For me, the big excitement is not just baking the cake, maybe not even eating it, but seeing if it comes out really nice. I have uniform layers, and then I want to count how many layers, and that to me is just so much fun. Okay, I'm going to open it up now because this is a spring form. Aha! All right, wow. Let me just count because I love this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 layers. And I could count them. Yay! All right, I'm just so happy. We have a whole spekkoek here. As you could see, it wasn't very hard to make. If you ever feel like you have a lot of time on your hands and you want your very own spekkoek, go for it.